Here's a quick market review for Thursday, December 21st, 2023, and also I will be going in depth on a fib laddering concept, making sure that you can actually take a trade instead of it potentially running away from you and not retracing. So this is one thing you can use to help out with that. So just to start off things here, I'm on the 12-minute chart, and from this point in time, we have our protected low here and our protected high. So what we could look for is breakouts above and then potential retracements for continuations long, or price to break the low here, the protected low, for a retracement into short. Those are kind of the two scenarios you can have when you're following your protected high, protected low. So what we got here is an almost closed up here, but it didn't. Actually, I would have my protected low high. I wanted to mark here is, even though this is the high, we're using the high from the highest closed candle. So this is the highest closed candle, and that's the high from it. So this is the high we would look to close above. And you can see here we did close above it. So now we can confirm that this here is a protected low, and we can drag it up here and be looking for closures below here for potential flips now. And so this is our new protected high. And now we can again look either a breakout above, pull back, long, or break the low. Like if it doesn't break out above here like it does, just pretend you can't see that, and it just breaks below, then we could look for shorts once it pulls back up into this range. And so going back here from this previous flip, when it broke out above right here, it broke out above this high, we can take this range down and use that for longs, right? So when it broke out of this right here, we can now look at reactions at these levels. And you can see it reacted at the 30, didn't quite make it to the 50, reacted at the 30 again, and maybe again for a last time. So what do we have? First tap touch scalp, maybe sucking second tap double bottom to go higher. It kind of is the phenomenon that Dave, of course we got this dip here, so it's not perfectly cleanly, but we can kind of see that happening there. And so that was that continuation zone. I mean, you definitely had the entries there. That would be more appropriate drawing like that because now it's fresh. So that's that zone. And then now, since we broke out here, this candle broke above this high, we can now draw this zone for potential longs. Drawing it like this is kind of confusing, so I kind of like to draw it right when it broke out to look for pullbacks here. It didn't quite make it here. But now that could be something that we could have unmitigated for, for the next. And so later during Wednesday afternoon, we had some reactions. It's kind of hard to see on the 12-minute exactly what happened there, but we can take a look into that potentially. But what I want to really show here is that none of these kind of lows here, this one, and this one, were of any importance because they didn't deliver from a high that broke out. So once we broke out above here, our protected low would go the lowest point in between this break of structure and then the next one. So that's here. And so nothing in here technically, this high, these lows, none of these are valid. They were never a part of structure. So if we look to close below those in the future, like when we did here, these weren't valid lows that we would kind of look for flips from. Even though we flipped here, I'll show you what I mean, because where is our next break of structure after this one? Because now this is the high from this highest closing candle, and then we drag the low up after we get the next break of structure. So we broke it here, and now we drag this up. We got the breakout. This is the highest point. And then when we broke out above higher, we can keep trailing it up. And basically the highest trail that we would have would be this one. This is our first. So when it flips here and we get the close below, this is our origin zone. So we have our origin zone drawn out. Yesterday, Wednesday, when we closed down here, I had the origin zone drawn out. But what can we notice here with this drop is what's the furthest point? Like today, basically, At any point, did we touch this zone? No. So you could have been waiting for this whole higher time frame zone, and there was no higher time frame zone delivery. But we can notice here from the lowest close here is over here to the left. Did it close below this low? No. This was a protected low we would have. So this wouldn't have been something that we would look to draw a zone from to potentially short over here. But what we did get, remember these lows, they weren't a part of structure. So this wasn't something that I would look to maybe draw a zone from to look to short over here. But we can see, remember, we got the close above here. This candle closed above this, so we have a valid break of structure. And then this candle right here, this second bearish one, closed below the low of the candle that put in the high. So that's a valid pullback, valid break of structure. So this was our lowest valid, like protected low, valid low, whatever you want to call it, same thing. This was the lowest one that we broke here. Remember, none of these were part of structure, so this is the lowest one that we broke. And if we draw a zone from there to the high, then we can see some reactions that we got today. So even though the origin zone didn't kind of get tagged, we definitely had this bigger zone. It's as price is breaking down here, we could keep dragging. So price, let's delete this one again. Price broke the low here. We had it protect this, that was a protected low at the time. And so right when it broke here, we could draw this zone out. So we have this zone. But price broke this protected low also with this candle. So now we could draw this zone and be like, okay, if it comes up to maybe this 30%, we could look to short. But again, price kept breaking lower. And so not only did it break these ones, with these further candles, now we broke this protected low. Because if I draw out all the previous protected lows like I had earlier, we had this one, we had this one here. Remember, none of these were part of structure because they didn't deliver from a valid break of structure earlier. Same reason why these ones wouldn't be something I'm marking out, because did they deliver from a high that broke previous out? No. This broke out. The next time it broke out was here. So this is the lowest point. When did we break out above here? Here, lowest point. When did we break above here? Here, lowest point. When did we break above here? Here, lowest point. So you see what I'm getting at. Maybe there were some here, but it kind of got, like this wasn't part of one because it didn't close above here. So this wouldn't count. And all of these ones, they don't get canceled out because this one's like the same level. So these are the protected lows. So every time it breaks one, it's kind of a new zone you can draw. So that's why I had this one. And it works the same on all time frames, right? I'm just doing this on 12 minutes. So this is my time frame bias was because we closed below this protected low. I had that. One thing you can do to kind of be more precise is on NinjaTrader, if you do your middle mouse click, you can see low 85575. So you can make sure you've got it like to the tick correct. And then you can drag this one up, same thing with the high of 73.50. So I'll drag this up to 73.5. Sometimes it's hard and you have to scroll in to get more accurate. Right there. So now we have this accurate zone, and diving into the 1 minute, we've got this delivery on Thursday. And so what we can see here is I don't have the 1 minute. I kind of want to, let's go back to the 12 minute. Right, the zone disappeared. This is a problem I've been having when I have this properties. So there's a in the data series you can do show global drawing objects, and it brings like everything in. So just go to the 1 minute here, delete the origin zone, keep it clean. So we've got, this was that zone, this one right here, and of course I just moved it a bit. Okay, so we have this higher time frame zone that we would look to potentially sell from. I had this drawn out again yesterday when it broke below that protected low. I had it drawn out saying today we could look to maybe short from 30, 50%. And so today, New York Open is right right about in this chop right here, this candle, and right before it, we did have 5:30 news, tap to 50. So this, honestly, like this could be something that you could use for good confluence right after a news, because you don't get the initial news spike, right? So you can trade news without trading the initial news spike. So like maybe people are like, oh, the news is going to be long, so they buy right before, and they have their stop loss right below, maybe a couple lows to the left. They got yeeted, and then it goes. So you don't want to take the initial thing, but right after prices developed, you could look to react from some higher time frame zones. Bigger delivery faster with bigger zones. So looking in, let's refine it down potentially on the 5-second here now. So coming down on the 5-second, at this point in time, we can see that there was some lows broken and some, of course, flips happening. And so you can actually see it on the 1-minute chart. So this candle closed below this low. This candle closed below this candle here that put in a high, so it's a valid pullback, valid break of structure. So technically it's a valid low on the 1-minute. So we have this zone that we draw out. Look for shorts after we get that close below. I'll draw it like this so we know better timing. And going on the 5-second here, again, what do we see? Okay, we get our flip. On the 5-second, we do have this unmitigated zone up here we can see too. We never got the pullback, so there was no really early entry. And so it's kind of like when you have your 1-minute zone here and you've got this big bullish delivery, it is ideal to wait for a 1-minute flip too, but sometimes, you're just not going to get it. So you might want to back test and be a bit more aggressive trader where you're waiting for a nice 5 seconds. So right here when it closed below this low, again, this wasn't exactly valid pullback, so it wasn't a clean protected low. That would be right here we would look to flip. And it just so happened that that's the same on the 1-minute. So that's when it's like, okay, well, it's pretty strong because it's the same protected low as the 5-second that's on the 1-minute. And so when we got that flip, we have this zone, look to short when it touches in this zone. So the first bearish candle, like you wouldn't have a limit order on 30%. We got some bearish delivery here. So that's pretty nice. Seeing this big bearish candle, we didn't perfectly get the pattern that we like to see where it trades out and then back in. That would be more clean, but when news happens, that thing can go fast. And so let's take a look on my Renkos, see how this is looking on the Renko, because a lot of time, wait, we need to go to global on here, bring it here. So we can see on the Renkos, we did get a nice, a nice pattern that we'd like to see with the Renkos. And so moved it again. I should really lock it. Okay, right, lock. So with Renko, it's kind of the same thing. Where's the lowest low that we broke? This one. When price broke here, it broke this low. And so we draw the fib there. So this is our, right here, it pushed up. I'll draw it out so it's easier to see. This is kind of the flip that we're playing with. Came up, tapped the 30, got our Renko flip, get in off the first reversal bar on the Renko. When it taps your level, bang. 0.75 drawdown, and this sniper entry, like, what is your entry? 495. That, and then like ran 36 points before coming back to entry and getting a potential second tap on this. Right? So you got that one. Maybe even price came up. Didn't quite get a nice Renko flip there. One thing we can see here though is because we have bearish delivery forming, we broke out from this zone. You can see it here too. This candle, it didn't quite break it, but it wicked below. So we have this zone we could almost look for continuations short from. Broke below, we could potentially look for Renko reversal bar shorts when it touches level. Like you could wait for it to just tap 50%, give you the reversal bar, put your stop loss up there. These are all things you got to back test. Like I'm not saying this is what you should do. I could say what I do. I like to wait for symmetrical flip that doesn't take too many bars to form and that is at your your 5 second confirmed. We've got that 5 second confirmed, and then refine it on that Renko. Wait for that Renko flip on the pullback of the 5 second. And so here, the second tap. Let's show the second tap. I'm just seeing, look for some more continuations, but that 70% would have worked good. Broke the low here, pull back up into it, and then you got your reverse bar. So there's your sell, 0, drawdown. This one right here, I mean, you kind of got your mini Renko flip here after touching the 30%, but it does a double top. Sometimes doing a double top, it's not ideal. You want it to be, you want it to be lower, not to double top. Like here, this one right here, obviously it didn't double top because it broke this low, came back, and then reversed after tapping the 30, not like coming back up to the top and double topping here and down. A lot of the time they'll work, but they're less strong. And so when they're less strong pattern, you want to see that form at more strong levels or higher up, more of a, buying high, selling low type thing. So with these continuations, let's keep going. Let's do some more market review after. Let's go to this point in time. Price came back up. And what about happened when we got this 30% tap? So we got 30% tap. Broke that. This is a time where, like, if you had your stop loss right there, you could have targeted the next lows. It's only 2 points, so this is a trade. Maybe it's not the best. Or if you were targeting here, that is 5, but then you'd get stopped out. So it's like you see your mini Renko pattern, but if we look on the grand scheme of things, where are we buying right here? Or selling, I mean, sorry. You're selling in this middle of the zone. Dave says sell in the middle of the zone. No, you want to sell at the top. So we want to be selling near the top of this kind of, we created a mini range here. So we're going to be selling to the high and buying near the lows here. So selling here, even though we're at the 30% of this nice zone that made these nice reactions earlier, is it the greatest location to keep selling? Like, look at that 1 minute candle push up too. What's another thing Dave says is when you get a strong push up, maybe you should chill, wait a little bit for price action to develop. And so that is a thing. And so price came up way higher, right? We obviously got this push up to the 50, right? There could have been some, like it tapped the 50. You kind of got this mini flip, but it got a new high before. You can see how this high or this low right here got broken by this Renko. So this is the pattern I'm looking at. It broken. Now I'm looking for the sell retracement, but it broke the previous high without giving us the reversal bar. So that invalidates this. So that basically invalidates kind of selling at this level. We don't get the reaction we want out of this level. So we're not looking to sell here. Now we're looking to sell the next level. So what we got here, did we break this low here? Nope. Oh, we made a new high. Where's the next low we have? Okay, so we look to break that. Draw it out. We didn't quite get the pull up into the zone. So, if you were kind of waiting for a bit safer, it was, this happens a lot, but it was 0.7 or half a point of a rejection away from you being able to get in. If it tapped that and gave you a reverse bar, you'd be in. That would be pretty symmetrical if it did do that. So that, it's tough because, with ICT or whatever, they'll use the breaker bar entry. So that's potentially entering off here. And what do you almost get here too is some SNDR. So if we go here on the 5 second, where's the low? Let's see. What's the low we're working with here? Oh, it's way up here. See, sometimes during the news, the 5 seconds just, you really can't see this stuff. I can't even see that SNDR. Anyway, this whole thing right here is push up looks like SNDR on the 5 second. And then you can see it held here. And what did we break here with these lows? We broke this swing. So What do you get? 30% in line with SNDR. Oh, so you could even sell the rejection, but if you want that extra confirmation, look at that. Beautiful mini Renko pattern. You better sell off that right there. That's a beautiful sell. Oh my God. This has pretty much everything. Like we have a nice, like this right here is a type of structure on this size of Renko that would be a like a nice shift on the 5 second in normal conditions. But right now we're in higher volatility than usual, so these 5 second candles have more movement in them than usual. So it's harder to see the normal swings that we usually can. Whereas with Renko's, it's we're always going to be able to see these swings because it's at a set price. The thresholds and when these bars form is always at a set price. So they'll just form way faster in news. So, I mean, that's a clean sell. Definitely no losses there on this second tap. So if we move on, I mean, the open comes in. I mean, that could be your open tap. I didn't even realize that actually. Right here is a nice New York Open. 6:30 for me is 9:30 Eastern because this is Pacific. So that's right at your New York Open, and that's how you could have traded this New York Open with and be done for your day in literally a couple minutes. Like if you catch this sell here, right? Zero drawdown. I mean, you got technically 5 points in 1 second. So the open sometimes is kind of hard because like for this time to form, like it only took a second. So you got to be really fast. So sometimes waiting for it to get this level and then, having that sell order ready. That's why I have these keybinds, try to help with speed. And I mean, it's really not hard for me to, the open's definitely a lot harder than other times. But so delivering from that, what else do we see for the day? I mean, there's a lot of setups. There's a lot of chop in here. What do we get here with this? A close below here. So now we've kind of have this whole zone push up. We can look to short from. So here and here, let's take a look how that looks on the 5 second. And Renko, let me just go pushing up here. Oops. Okay, so we have, sometimes I get lost with these zones. So this is the level that we want. Broke below here, and then looking to sell when it pushes up into this zone. So this is why I color code my zones sometimes, because it's just hard to tell what lines are what. Okay, yeah, so that's what I had. I had my purple zone's big one. Okay, so we're looking for the push up into the orange zone after this low is broken. So push up. Did we get a mini flip here? Nope. See, if you look on the Renko, so when we tap this level, we broke this low and this low. So if it got a reversal bar here, I'd like to short, but we didn't get it. So you're now in. Right here, here's a low that we broke. Pushed up in it, reversal bar. You could be in targeting next lows. I mean, obviously it didn't go. It was in 3 points. When it's hovering around like this, I mean, it's tough if you're like, oh, do I take my trade or take the points? But I messed up this level too. Yay. Lock. I press Alt, by the way, sometimes because like if I go like this and I'm like, okay, so this is where I want to view on the Renko bar. But then I go like this, it messes it up. So what I do is when I go like this and I'm where I want to see on the 2 bar or 5 second, I click, make sure this 1 minute is selected. I click Alt, and for whatever reason that like disappears the cursor, so it doesn't do that same thing. So now I can bring my cursor on this screen. I could do Control N to change it off, so now it doesn't mess it up. Now this one messes up, but we go back to normal spot, Control N, now it doesn't glitch out. Okay, anyways, that's a little tip. So what's some action here? We can see it at least on the 5 second. There wasn't any low broken that made a high, so even though this right here, kind of looks like a mini Renko flip, we didn't get the 5 second bearish flip that we're looking for. So that's like super aggressive, never would have got in. This one's super aggressive. because we didn't break the low again, but potential done it. It's not at a level though, so once it failed here, we'd look maybe to the next level. Again here, we tap the level, flip, no pullback. So now what's the next flip? Mini flip. I mean, ideally you would look for the higher level, but sometimes you can just keep trying again. Maybe you have a couple tries at a level, or if you can see here, we failed here, but we finally took the high. And so that's another, now we took this high. This gives us even more reason now because we just took something. We're in that 50% line. There's this SNDR here we can see that's still helping us on the 5 seconds. So we do have a lot of reason to take this flip here. And what do we get? We did get this flip, broke below here. This is again a double top entry because we didn't get it within the middle. So that could be a sell, but it pushed up, came down. So if you're in that trade, I mean, bit of drawdown, but would have persevered if you didn't have it right behind it. And we can see from this 50%, I mean, we can do the fib laddering thing too because we made a new high. If this zone doesn't get tapped, the origin zone, we keep breaking lower. So what's the next step? Right, when we broke this one, we have this here. Oh, it kept breaking lower. Where's the lowest one it broke? This one right here. So we'll draw it from that zone, right? So we broke it, well, we broke it here. It came out, tapped the 30. I mean, that one would have been in and out of profit. I mean, if you're holding your 5-point stop loss, which I would do, that would have been a winner overall. That's not the greatest entry. That's sometimes why I wait for like another mini flip or wait for it to kind of come deeper, a little bit deeper, a bit more near this origin of the zone. Because like if this is just a swing, like that's low on this most recent swing. So once you get this action, you're like, okay, so now we have this array, right? It's the same thing, but on a micro scale. Now here we're looking to short near the top. So shorts near the red discount are a lot more likely to be in a good location. And so what do we get near this 50% of this discount zone and also the 50% of the fib, the lowest low that we broke here? So it touched the 50. And then what do we get? A nice mini Renko flip pull up. There's your short entry. 1.25 pips of drawdown, but it came down, did 5 points. It came back up, so you could potentially take that one, or you could wait for a mini Renko flip or be safer. So it's a bit unfortunate, but you could take a scalp and then maybe leave a little bit of a contract in for a runner, like leave it at maybe 3-point or 2-point stop loss right above most recent high. So it would have came back right up to break even. That's why sometimes if you go break even after like 5 points and you're like, okay, I went break even after 5 points, but I want to hold along a runner. A lot of time this will happen. It'll come, take you out, and then go. So that's why maybe giving a bit of a buffer of a small contract loss. Like you took 5 points on 3 contracts, so you're up overall 15 points, and then maybe leave one contract at a 3-point stop or something like that. So if you lose, now you're only, it's overall up 12 points. So you risk this 3 points, right, for getting a potential, way more on one contract, another 20 points. So that's a bit of risk trade management to think about. And I just messed up by clicking go to there. Good thing I got the wait, Alt. There we go. So what do we get? I mean, we kept closing. This one didn't close below. The next time we got to close below is here. So we could look to potentially sell. I mean, we had this SNDR that's all it rejected from. Let's just take a peek. Let's see how that looks on the Renko in 5 second. Right here. So we pushed up, tapped it. I mean, we got our first flip here, came back to the 50%. If you got in there, if you had a tight 2-point stop near 3 points, would have got stopped out. But if you had your 5-point stop behind SNDR, that's what I like. I like putting 5-point stop near top of an SNDR zone. So a lot of the time, your 3-point stop is going to get taken, and then it'll go. So you could be slightly wrong, right, with your precise entry, but your 5-point stop will still protect you. But let's just say you did get taken out at 3-point because you want to keep it tight, or if you want to keep it tight, that would be a 2.5, 2.25, something like that. Moving on. This candle broke this low here, so now we got another mini Renko flip. So you should take it again. Pull up. This Renko flip down. Finally pulled in. You can see it perfectly tapped 50% down. Suffered 2 ticks of drawdown, and that one rocketed like freaking. Let's see here. 60 points. So you had that initial couple point stop for a lot of potential, a lot. And in reality, what's our RR here, right? Like 2.5 point for that. It's over 20 R that you theoretically it went for. I mean, if you're just targeting this low, I mean that's still 20 R targeting that that structural low. If you were targeting that for a runner, and so you can afford to take an L, and then the second one again, it's another 2.5 pip stop. So it's almost worth it for a few stabs and just going for that. And so I really like the mini Renko flips. So you can get really tight entries like that. And I mean, a lot of time here you'd be like, well, isn't this kind of too low to be selling, right? You're below 50%. And I mean, you could be right, but also it's like, how much of a trend profile versus range profile are we in? So right here, are we in a range or a trend profile? And I mean, it is hard to say because we were ranging, but it's kind of like a ranging trend. I mean, in the end of the day, if we like can sum up the market in like a channel, I mean, what is it doing? It's going down. We're kind of in a downtrend. So selling selling is going to be overall the thing that you want to do. And so we're following kind of general order flow that the market's been in. And I mean, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, middle of ranges are goods to sell at too, but they can be good. It's obviously not the strategy, but just something to keep in mind on location, right? Because that's all location premium discount. Like you can take the stuff you learn from ICT and using that location knowledge to help you. So when you're in a trending profile, you don't have to be so strict and being like, oh yes, this is a box range and we have to buy the lows and sell. It's like, well, we broke out below and it's kind of like we're kind of in a trend profile too. Like, what do we keep doing? Lower lows and lower highs. So it's definitely not the worst sell idea to be selling there location wise. And anyways, later in the day, one thing I wanted to know, I mean, this zone, of course, it's still valid. So any break below and taps you could really take. It's still a valid zone. This tap was perfect. Let's take a peek on that. See how we could have traded that. So right here, tapped it, broke below. Mini Renko flip, 0 drawdown, 1.25 pip stop loss. I mean, does it get any freaking better than that? 1.25 pip stop loss, and that ran, okay, what would our entry? 920. Okay. So 920, it ran over like 100 pips with a 1 pip. Like, you want a 100R trade? Go right ahead. You can literally do it. Like, that's literally perfect. You missed that, no problem. Take a little bit bigger structure. 50% here, Renko, bang, you're in. Maybe you want to wait a little bit of a safer. Okay, well, you got another Renko flip here. Bang, get in off that one. Too bad. 0.75 point drawdown. Oh, not as good as 0 here. 0 on this sell. I mean, look how clear those cells are, and you can keep stacking. Sell, sell, sell. Sell here. Oh, we flipped and got a continuation. Sell. Come back up, tap the 30%. Oh, more continuation. Sell. Broke below lower. Oh, now we have a new range. After we broke below lower, comes back up to the 50 or 70 with a reversal bar. Oh, sell. Oh, we broke this low, push back up. It's kind of like another mini Renko flip within a pullback of a continuation zone. Oh, sell, right? Broke below more. It's like the same thing. Oh, we got a new range. Once we broke below here, pulled up into this new range. Reverse about. So you could literally be just stacking sells here and being like, okay, we're delivering from a higher time frame zone. This is a good place to be delivering from. Today was a 5:30 CPI news day, high energy, so there's higher chances of bigger swings today. It's using all of these things, and you could get these stack sells. If imagine catching 100 points with 10 times the size and being like, okay, I have good reason to hold for longer than just 5 points here. I mean, even if you just caught the back down to these previous lows, I mean, 15 points, you keep stacking position sells. That's going to mean way more than if you just, got your one contract. I don't know. I've been looking like I literally didn't even look at these before today, and I'm going there and being honest about how I take it and how you take it. And like you can clearly see that if you take these, you'd be profitable, right? So, oh yeah. Last thing I wanted to say is you can see on my stream I was saying I was wanting like right here in time price is pushing up. I was like, I don't even know where to sell. I'm like, price is pushing up. I'm like, it kind of feels weird to sell and try to catch things. And like, maybe this shift right here, I was looking to sell, and it's like 30%. Maybe you entered in, stopped, something like that. I didn't enter here, but I was like, I kind of want to wait for a clearer, a clear thing. And so up here would be great. I'm like, oh, a double top at the 50% in line with there is SNDR here. So if we go here, this was these lows. Let's draw out a line. So SNDR, like, it's good that it's from a valid low, but these lows were at one point protected low. They were a part of structure. So this push up before we close below here. I mean, you could use this smaller one right here, or you could go with a bigger one. It's kind of up to you. Could draw both, see what both reaction from. But this lines up with the 50%, you can see. This dark purple line is the 50%. So I had this SNDR. I'm like, yeah, I want to wait for it to push up into there. And we did get it. There we go. So you can see actually how well that's holding now in Asia. Look at that. Pretty good. So what we did get, let's go here on these charts now. So after we tapped, I'm looking for a break of a 5-second low, right? Most aggressive is just taking a mini Renko flip right away. Most aggressive is a mini Renko flip without a 30% pullback, just a pullback to where you flipped from, and that's what you got here. Most aggressive Renko flip here could have easily got your 5-tick scalp, or 5-point scalp, but I mean that's not what I'm looking to do yet. So remember how I said like earlier, a swing like this is something that's usually a 5-second protected low? Well, here, what did we get? A 5-second protected low. Highest closing candle, closed higher, lowest point. So this low here is definitely valid. And what do we get? The double top here. I was waiting for a mini Renko flip here because a bunch of time passed and I didn't get it. I was right. It didn't push up to get the short. It just went yeet. But when it's like nice and symmetrical like this, like that's a pretty symmetrical flip, right? So I really should have took it, especially when I seen the double top. Like even when it tapped the 30% in, that's kind of my rules right now. Would have worked cleanly. 5-point stop loss would have fit really nicely with the high. So I really should have took just the 30% there, I think. But I was waiting for my flip because a bunch of time has passed since this flip, but like just look how clean that is, man. My analysis played out, and then like you could even keep this zone, look for more taps later, and we got them here, right? Draw this out. So we got another mini Renko flip, tap the zone, enter in there, you got your 5 points. Come back into the zone,
Oh wait, no, it would be this. Broke it, tapped in the zone, short again. Let's see, did it touch 30? Yeah, tap 30, short again off that. So there were more continuation shorts, but I missed this trade and I was like, oh, I missed the trade. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't focused, wasn't looking at the next trades and missed these ones that would have came. Or if you did the fib laddering stuff right here, where's the lowest high that we closed? I mean, you could do it with here. Let's do that with this one. It's kind of like this. So it almost pushed up. Next reverse bar, it could sell. Like there's all these continuations, and or if we broke below, take this move up, and that's like the same. But every new low you break could be a new zone, pretty much. That fib laddering. So that's basically the analysis I had, and some good trades. There's a lot more, obviously, you could take. Like I could be showing you tons of little trades in here, right? I mean, we got this. We could look here from this flip. We could look in here on the 5-second. Look here on the 5-second. See what happened. I mean, I can literally see right here. Mini flip, pull back 50% taps. You got that bullish candle. Enter, stop low there. Like you can trade on the 1 minute, no problem. But the 5 seconds is just really nice getting refined entries in. I mean, you can see here it's been working out quite well. So, yep, that's basically what I do. I mean, let's see if there's any trades that I potentially would even take right now. So we can see we're kind of in a nice ranging environment. We failed to close below this low here. So let's definitely a nice bullish opportunities we would look for. We can see what's the highest closing high. We wicked above technically this high, so theoretically we could have that. It's just so high up. I don't really like, again, in this micro range, the most recent swing I ideally like to be buying in discount. So ideally it would get to the 50, get to one of these swing zones. A lot of the time I like to wait for the first flip, the origin zone. So this was the first high in this rundown that we broke. So this would be an origin zone. A lot of time that's what I want to wait for because that's really low. And then if you get your, that's where you really get your 3 point stop losses is from doing stuff like getting that and then being like, oh, well, here's some SNDR, here's some SNDR. Look on the 5-second. This SNDR here looks pretty good. So compared to this one on the 5-second. So this one, wait for it to come maybe in this zone for a mini Renko flip. You'd be looking pretty good for some longs right now. But we also, again, we could do the highest closing on the 5-second. So this is the high that it closed above. So this could be our fib laddered using close logic. And we never tapped the 30, no trade yet. So if we tap 30, reverse the bar up, potential aggressive long, but it's not. It's not the nicest symmetry if we if we finally touch over here, like that's not a nice symmetrical flip. We want something where we can literally make a drawing and then take that and literally put it on the chart and it work out nicely, right? So I mean it's pretty close, but Asia waiting game. Anyways, don't want to make the video too long. People aren't going to want to watch it. So I applaud all you guys who have made it this far. Hopefully at least some people do because it's good information here. Anyways, have a good one. Till the next one.